All right, this is day 2 for our application of exponents. So we're going to be talking about scientific notation again. We're going to be talking about different operations that we can do with scientific notation. So the first one that we can do is actually multiplying. So what we're going to end up doing is we're really just multiplying the two plain numbers, and then we're going to keep the 10 to a power. So in this example, 7 times 4 is going to give us 28 times 10 to the 5th power. But that final answer is not in scientific notation, so we're going to have to move it so the decimal is in between the 2 and the 8, so that this is a number between 1 and 10. And then since this moved it to the left, it actually lost a decimal point, so this was a loss. This side is actually going to gain then. So we're going to actually gain a power of 10. So we're going to add on 1 to our exponent for the tens. In the next one, we have 0.5 times 1.2, so that's going to give us 0.6 times 10 to the negative 3. This is not in scientific notation, so I have to move it to the right one. So technically, this is going to be gaining, moving to the right, which means this is going to have to lose one more. So since this is losing, we're actually going to be subtracting another 1, so it's going to be 10 to the negative 4th power then. We're going to have to move it an extra spot. In the next example, 2.5 times 6 times 10 to the 3rd. 2.5 times 6 is going to give us 15 times 10 to the 3rd. 15 is not between 1 and 10, so we're going to move the decimal point 1.5. We had to move it to the left, so this was a loss, which means this side's going to gain. So instead of 10 to the 3rd, it's now 10 to the 4th. Over here, 0.4 times 2 times 10 to the 9th. 0.4 times 2 is going to give us 0.8 times 10 to the negative 9th. Not between 1 and 10, so we have to move it to the right, so that's a gain, which means this side's going to be a loss, so this is going to be 8. So since we're losing, we subtract 1, so it's actually going to go down to 10 to the negative 10th place then. Down here, we can go ahead and simplify each expression, keep our final answers in scientific notation. So what we do is when we have two numbers that are in scientific notation, we multiply the plain part of the numbers, and then we actually multiply the 10 to the powers. So 7 times 5 is 35, and 10 to the 7th times 10 to the negative 5th, using your exponent rules, since we're multiplying, add the exponents, you get a positive 2 here. 35 is not between 1 and 10, so we need to change it to 3.5. We lost, we moved to the left, so this side is going to gain. There's our final answer. Over here, 7.2 times 2 is 14.4. 10 to the negative 7th, 10 to the negative 5th is 10 to the negative 12th. This we need to move to the left, so this side's going to gain 1, so we're going to have 1.44. By gaining, we're actually adding 1, so negative 12 plus 1 is going to be negative 11 then. Over here, this one is going to get cubed, so this is power of a power, so we're going to multiply it and apply it here. So we're going to have 4 to the 3rd times 10 to the 12th. 4 to the 3rd is actually going to give us 64 times 10 to the 12th. 64 is not in scientific notation. We moved it left, so we lost 1. So the right side is going to gain 1 then. In this last example, we're going to take care of the parentheses with the exponents first here. So we're going to end up with 10 to the negative 3rd times 3 squared times 10 to the 16th. So 3 squared is just going to give us 9. 10 to the negative 3rd and 10 to the 16th, you're going to add your exponents. So you're going to get 10 to the 13th as your final answer. Since that number is between 1 and 10, you're good to go, no extra work. Down here, when we're dividing, we're going to actually just divide the whole number pieces, and then we're going to follow our exponent rules over here of actually subtracting them. So if we do 7.5 divided by 2.5, we get 3, and 10, we have 12, minus a negative 4 is actually going to give us times 10 to the 16th. Since that number is between 1 and 10, you're good to go. Last example, 2 divided by 8, you're going to get 1/4 or 0.25. And your exponents, 3 minus 9, is going to be negative 6. This one needs to move to the right. so that it's a number between 1 and 10. So you're gaining 1. So this side's going to lose 1, which will make it to the negative 7th power then.